Uh, Hi, in this video I'm going to explain how to find a complete square or to put the formula in a complete square form. Before we start, we need to ensure that you understand what's meant by a complete square. So for example, x plus 5 whole square is actually what? So 2 squares is actually that 2 times 2, okay? Likewise, 5 squared is 5 times 5, or x squared is basically x times x. So when you put anything to the power 2, so you just multiply the thing by itself. So x plus 5 all squared is actually the same as x plus 5 times x plus 5, and we can put this as in two brackets. Okay, and in order to find this, we just expand easily. So what we have is x times x is x squared, uh, x times 5, that's 5x, and then 5 times x, that's 5x again, and 5 times 5, that's 5 squared. Okay, but a quicker way to do it, you just need to get used to it. So what you do is basically, and the answer is going to be obviously x squared plus 10x plus 25. And as I said, a quicker way to do it is by doing the square value of the first term, which is x squared, and that's x, okay, to the left, and then the square value of the other term, which is 5 squared, and that is 5 squared, which is 25, and then you multiply both of the terms together and then multiply them, double them by 2. So 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times x is plus 10x. So it's a much quicker way to do it. Okay. By completing the square, you actually try to do the opposite. So imagine that we have this initially and we want to put it in a form a plus b all squared. So what we do is we do the opposite. Instead of multiplying by 2, we actually divide by 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Therefore, x plus 5 all square. And then once we expand, we reach the same formula. Okay. Given another example, okay, and see what happens. And that is a tough thing to do to begin with, but once you practice, it becomes easy. So for example, we have this equation, x squared plus 8x plus 34. The first thing you do is you move 34 to the other side, to the end, and just we'll deal with that later. And now we apply the opposite. Instead of multiplying by 2, we divide the second term, which is multiplied by x to the power of 1 by 2. We divide it by 2, and that is 4. So instead of writing the equation in quadratic form, we write x plus 4, which is half of 8, and put it in a bracket, and we raise the bracket to the power of 2. So x plus 4 all squared. If you expand this, it's square of the first term, which is x squared, and then double to multiple the product of the two terms. So x times 4 times 2, that is 8x, which we have. And the only thing left is the square of the second term, which is 4 squared, and that's supposed to be 16. So the way to do it is we're missing 16 on the right hand side, so we can add 16 and subtract 16. It's basically like we did nothing, because when we add 0, you don't change anything. So by adding 16 and subtracting 16, we did nothing. We use the positive 16 to complete the square, and we use the negative 16 with the other term, which we saved earlier. It's supposed to be 34, but here clearly I made a mistake. I thought it was 24, so 34 minus 16, that is supposed to be 18, and I just used plus 8 instead because I thought it was 24. Excuse that. Okay, we'll take another example. Uh, okay, so x squared minus 2x minus 7. Now we have a minus sign. So what we do is x squared minus 12x. We leave minus 7 to the other end. Then we go to the middle term. We divide by 2, and that is minus 6. So it's x minus 6 whole square. And we imagine we expand this bracket. So we have x squared, which we have on the left side. We have double the product, which is minus 12x, and that's x times minus 6 times 2. Okay, we're just missing the product, the square value of the second term, which is supposed to be minus 6 squared, which is 36. So what we have to do is we can add 36 to complete the square and subtract 36 from negative 7. So now we have a complete square, and the last digit is just minus 7 minus 36 and total of minus 34. Okay? Okay, now we use another example with a factor. Now the x squared is multiplied by 5, so we cannot do anything unless we make the factor of x squared is equal to 1. Okay? So the way to do it is by taking 5 as a common factor outside the bracket, and what do you have inside? 5 divided by 5 is 1, so x squared minus, actually it's supposed to be positive, I just made a mistake here, excuse that, let's just assume it's negative. So 30 divided by 5 is 6, so that's minus 6x, and minus 15 divided by 5, that is minus 3. And now what we have to do is we deal with the bracket inside as if it was a separate question, and then once we're over, we just multiply 5 in the bracket. So x squared minus 6x minus 3, leave minus x as we did earlier, and now we have x squared minus 6x, half of 6x, that's half of minus 6, that's minus 3, so it's x minus 3 whole square. Once you expand, we have x squared on the left hand side, double the product, which is minus 6x, and the only thing missing is the square of minus 3, which is plus 9. So we're going to have to add 9 and subtract 9 like if we added 0. And then we have a complete square, x squared minus 6x plus 9. We can put it in the form of x minus 3 whole square, and then minus 3 minus 9 is minus 12. And once we're over, we bring back our 5 and we multiply it, expand 5 in the brackets. So we have the question with the final answer in the form 5 times x minus 3 whole square minus 5 times minus 12, which is minus 60. Okay? Right. Last example, we have kind of messed up quadratic equation, 35 minus 28x plus 7 minus 7x squared. So before we start, we need to rearrange. So we start with the term that has the biggest power of x, which is x squared, and that is minus 7x squared. Then negative 28x, and then the term which has no power of x, or x to the power of 0, and that's plus 35. So before we start, as we did in the previous example, we take minus 7 as a common factor, and when you take minus as a common factor, all the signs inverted inside. So minus 7 divided by minus 7, that's positive 1, and then that's positive 1x squared, and then minus 28 divided by minus 7, that is positive 4x, and finally plus 35 divided by minus 7, and that is minus 5. And just like we did earlier, we deal with this as a simple completing the square question, and once we're over, we multiply minus 7 to the answer. Okay, so as we did earlier, x squared plus 4x minus 5, we leave minus 5 on the other side, and we'll deal with that later. Half of 4 is 2, so it's x plus 2 whole square. Once you expand, you have square x, which is x squared, double the product, which is plus 4x. So we're only missing the square of 2 on the right hand side. So square of 2 is 4, so add 4 and subtract 4 from the other term. Now we have x squared plus 4x plus 4, that's a complete square in the form of x plus 2 whole square, minus 5 minus 4, that is minus 9. And finally, once the question is over, we just bring our minus 7 and we expand minus 7 to the brackets. So we have minus x plus 2 whole square multiplied by minus 7, and minus 7 times minus 9, that is positive 63, and the question is over. I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck.